Hey, Rumble World Entertainment. And of course, Star Trek is all over the place right now. So we know now on the big screen anyway that J.J. Abrams, all the Calvin timeline, Chris Pine, all that stuff gone. Done with. Paramount has said flat out, we're moving on. It's going to be something brand new, completely different, a fresh start. Now, speculation, which is running wild at the moment, but doesn't really add up, that the Tachyon Pulse is out there now saying that because of the movie is planned to be a trilogy and it's getting rid of Kurtzman Trek. That makes no sense to me, being the fact that Kurtzman has nothing to do with these movies moving forward. He also has nothing really to do with the movies at all, being the fact that he looked for control and was told no. So how does that lead to Kurtzman being wiped out if it's just the movies that are getting a fresh start as of now? Of course, everything is leaning back into the fact that the movies could set up something new, and all the indications right now are that David Ellison is going to let Kurtzman's contract run out and that he won't renew him. But we're now hearing some of the same crap we've heard before regarding the next season of Strange New Worlds, which will be season 4 and 5, which will be its last, which is only 4 episodes, maybe it's 6 episodes. Also, it's like half a season. And original Star Trek producers Rick Berman and Brandon Braga did an interview with the original Enterprise crew members, of course, that being Trip Tucker and Malcolm Reed of Enterprise, of course, Connor Traynor and Dominic Keating, who have a podcast. They've renamed the podcast now, but they sat down with them and they've even started to call out modern Star Trek. And this is the thing. Trek has become too modern. And we don't mean modern with it's focusing on all the modern crap today, like political stuff and all that garbage, which you absolutely do. But they're talking about dialogue, that the speaking in Star Trek now reflects too much of the real world. And that is one of the cases, like especially Strange New Worlds. They are talking like they're all off of TikTok. You know, you had moments with like, if it tweaks your freak, that being said, and all this weird, stupid crap. So regarding what we're going to get with season 4 of Strange New Worlds, well, what are we being told once again by Akiva Goldsman? Yes, season 4 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds is expected to feature more traditional Star Trek style action and adventure episodes. In other words, what they've come out to say is there's going to be less focus on outliers, and that's going to be less and less. In other words, it's going to be traditional Star Trek. Yeah, we're being told this garbage again. That after 5 seasons of Star Trek Discovery, after 3 seasons of Star Trek Picard, after 5 seasons of Lower Decks, after 2 seasons of Prodigy, after so far 3 seasons of Strange New Worlds, and all those little Trek shorts that were all in there, we are now, since 2017, and we are now in 2025, coming to the end, and this next season will be out in 2026, we're being told once again, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to this time give you real Star Trek. I'm going to press X to doubt. How could you possibly say that when one of your episodes coming up in next season is an episode where they become puppets? So definitely pressing X to doubt. However, Berman and stuff, as we were saying, were on this new podcast. And for Berman and Braga, that's the wrong approach to the world of writing Star Trek, which is the modern vernacular. Like it's Kirk rocking out to the Beastie Boys, which that's what they're talking about. So they're saying writing Star Trek, it's just a particular thing, said Braga. The tone is a kind of timeless one. It's a bit more formal, but at the same time, you don't want it to be too stiff. You want it to not be tainted by contemporary idealisms, but at the same time, it can't be free of them On one hand, Berman and Braga certainly know about writing Star Trek. Berman helped co-create TNG with Gene Roddenberry and Maurice Hurley, and became the primary producer when Roddenberry's poor health forced him to step aside from the series. Berman also co-created DS9 with Michael Filler, or RIP to Michael Filler, Voyager with Jerry Taylor, and Enterprise with Braga. For his part, Braga began as an intern on TNG and rose up to a chief creative in the franchise, eventually becoming showrunner of Voyager before creating Enterprise. That's funny as well. He actually dated Jerry Ryan for a while as well. So, just in case you didn't know that. But here is one of the things that they were talking about as well. So it says, when the complaints about Trek came from two of the guys responsible for crafting some of the most loved series in the franchise, they carry a little more weight, which is exactly what happened when Rick Berman and Brandon Braga dropped by the Decon Chamber podcast, hosted by Connor Trinner, aka Trip Tucker, and Dominic Keating, aka Malcolm Reed, of Enterprise. So this is what he said. I watched an episode of one of the newer Star Treks, where people were saying things like, "Gimme 5, observed Berman, and it just doesn't sit right to me. There's a certain classic element to Star Trek." And that's where then we got into the part where they were talking about the whole, you got to write it in a way where it's basically timeless. Obviously there'll have to be some kind of familiar tone to it, but ultimately it has to be timeless and not of today. It has to sound like it belongs somewhere else. And that's what they're talking about there. That, yeah, having these characters walk around saying like, "Give me 5" and all this, and "tweak your freak" and all this, and "yo dude," like they keep saying "dude" and stuff like that. It's ridiculous. And now we're also hearing Shaniqua Martin Green saying, "Oh, by the way, Starfleet Academy was put in the Discovery era on purpose," which means so they can try and get the people from a show that was cancelled to pop in and out of that crap. That's clearly what they're talking about there. But overall, we're just hearing some of the same beats again from the people within this modern take on Star Trek, which is, "Oh, don't worry, now that we're almost 10 years in, now we're going to give it to you the way you remember it. Now we're going to fix it. Now we're going to make it real Star Trek." Doubt it, because they've already filmed season 4 of Stranger Worlds, which they did alongside season 3, and season 3 was an absolute disaster for them, to the point they even actually admitted, "Yeah, we got that one wrong." So if you got that one wrong, but you filmed season 4 right along with it, well, that would indicate that season 4 and 5, you would think, will be a disaster as well. Shaniqua Martin Green saying it was done on purpose to put Starfleet Academy in the Discovery timeline. Yeah, that's clearly because the writing was on the wall. Discovery was getting cancelled, got cancelled, and now they're going to use this thing to try and bring them in and out. No doubt that'll happen. We already are going to have Tilly and Tig Notaro showing up in this crap. Then, of course, we're hearing that the original people who worked on Star Trek, who were the people, the gatekeepers of it, if you like, the guys who were writing it, creating it, and all that good stuff, are even calling out modern Trek. It's a joke. It's been a disaster. It's going to continue to be a disaster under Alex Kurtzman. And at this stage, all he has left coming out is Starfleet Academy seasons 1 and 2, because season 2 is getting done. They're currently filming that. I think that'll be it. That's where they're going to call it quits. And David Ellison is going to let their contract run out and just go in a brand new, fresh direction. We're going to have to wait and see. But what do you guys think? Do you think we're actually finally going to apparently get real Trek? What do you think about Shaniqua Martin Green talking about Starfleet Academy being in Discovery's time period on purpose? And what's your take on Brandon Braga and Rick Berman calling out modern Trek? Do let me know in the comments. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Hit that hype button, lets YouTube know it's worth checking out. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.